programming with breaking news. A Port Isabella attorney is missing after jumping off the highest point of the Queen Isabella Memorial Bridge. Law enforcement and Coast Guard are searching for Ray Marchan in the Laguna Madre. Ray Marchan called for a taxi at 4:19 this morning. He asked the driver to stop at the highest point of the bridge because he felt ill. The driver tells investigators he stopped and suddenly plunged off the bridge the day he was expected to surrender to federal authorities. Last year, he was convicted on federal racketeering charges for offering a state district judge cash for favors in Cameron County. More than 10 people have been arrested in this Abel Lima scandal. Cameron County and U.S. Marshals are investigating the case. It's not quite yet being called a suicide, sources say, because Marchan may have jumped and even swam to a boat, we hear. Ray Marchan graduated from Stanford Law School in 1982, passed the Texas State Bar in 1983. Since his conviction, Marchan has been disbarred from the state of Texas. Now, Action 4's Daisy Martinez is at the Cameron County Sheriff's Department after leaving Port Isabel, where a news conference just wrapped up now. We have her over the phone. Daisy, can you tell us what you're hearing from the Sheriff's Department now?
Yes, Marcy. Like you mentioned, we just wrapped up that press conference a couple minutes ago, and right now the sheriff says that they cannot confirm that this was Ray Marchan, although there is a lot of speculation that it was him. They cannot confirm because at this point there is no body, and they have not located Marchan if he is still alive and around here in Brownsville. But he does tell us that this cab driver tells him he reported to 18 Fireside the known and listed address for Ray Marchan at about 3 a.m. Ray Marchan asked him to drive up to the island, and the cab driver reported that as they were pulling up to the highest point of the bridge, like you mentioned, Marchan said he was feeling ill. He felt like throwing up. So the cab driver pulled over. Next thing you know, Marchan was at the rails and he jumped off. The sheriff does tell us that at this time, the Texas Coast Guard and Parks and Wildlife are using equipment underwater to search for any bodies, but it could be up to 24 to 40 hours before any body surfaces. That is, if there is a body to be found. The sheriff also says the other possibility is that the person who did jump could have swum to a boat and survived, but has just not been located at this time. Sheriff Lucio says he's never heard or seen of any case like this before, of anyone jumping off this bridge. He says there is no other indication that there was foul play, but they're not exactly calling it suicide at this time. As far as the suicide note, the sheriff could not tell us if there was one left behind or if investigators did find one, but we also headed to 18 Fireside here in Brownsville to try to see if there's any family members there that knows where Marchan could be, and if, in fact, this was the person that jumped off the bridge. And the bridge is open to traffic. It has been for several hours now. But like I said, I'm headed over to 18 Fireside to see if we can find any answers there. And of course, we'll keep you posted with the latest. Marcy?
Well, Daisy, you mentioned Coast Guard out there searching with local law enforcement agencies on the water. We're looking at a picture right now from South Padre Island, well, from Port Isabel, looking at South Padre Island over the causeway. There are helicopters up in the sky as well. That's the U.S. Coast Guard searching from air and ground. Did you see a lot of authorities out there on the water today?
Actually, Marcy, we were out there about 9:30, and there was not too much commotion going on. We saw maybe one boat in the distance, but I did expect to see a lot more. There really wasn't. We don't know if maybe they're searching at a further point of the Laguna Madre, but there was not too much commotion, and as I said, the bridge was open for traffic.
All right, Daisy Martinez and Daisy Barrera live for us over the phone right now. Daisy, thank you for that important information. And as you can see, the helicopter continues to move around, searching the waters there. But as Daisy said, traffic is moving. You can see the cars going over the causeway into South Padre Island, as well as coming back this way. Thank you, Daisy. Now, one thing is true. The legal community is shocked over this. Action 4's Joey Orta live with what they're saying right now. Joey.
Yeah, Marcy, we're learning they are shocked, disappointed as well. That's a general reaction circling the Cameron County Courthouse right now. Action 4 News spoke to attorney William Falk, who's practiced law in the Rio Grande Valley for more than 60 years. He says, quote, "I'm truly shocked about this event. I'm disappointed. I have known him for many years. He was very confident attorney handling mostly plaintiff cases, and he was always well thought of, end of quote. The investigation into Ray Marchan's disappearance remains under investigation right now by county and federal investigators. At the courthouse, many are speculating that Marchan may have survived that fall. Authorities are not confirming or denying that theory.
It's a very upsetting story for all of us in the legal community. So if asked about the mood of the legal community, it's very somber and sad. We're all shocked, and this is something that we did not expect. Ray is a well-known figure, and he is a strong man, and we did not expect this.
That was attorney John Blaylock that you just heard from there. For now, the Stanford law graduate remains missing tonight. Again, we're talking about Ray Marchan. He passed the Texas State Bar back in 1983, was convicted last year for his role in that cash for favors scandal, but was never disbarred, we're told, in this case. We'll be learning more about this one. Marcy, back to you.
All right, another defendant in the cash for court favors scandal has been in court in Corpus Christi for several weeks now. Action 4 Sergio Chapa following Mark Rosenthal trial and brings us the latest as the jury is set to decide his fate any day now. It's continuing coverage. Sergio.
And we're here at the federal courthouse in Corpus Christi, where Cameron County's cash for court favors scandal is playing out. A jury is deciding the fate of Austin-based attorney Mark Rosenthal. Rosenthal is almost one of a dozen people connected to the corruption case involving 404 State District Judge Abel Lemus. One of those people was Brownsville attorney Ray Marchan. A jury convicted Marchan last year for his role in the scandal, bribing Judge Lemus for favorable appointments as a guardian ad litem. Marchan was sentenced to prison, 42 months in prison. That's about 3.5 years. Court records show Marchan was supposed to report to a federal prison in Fort Worth at 2 o'clock today. At this time, the U.S. Attorney's Office is declining to issue a comment about Marchan's reported suicide. A spokeswoman for the U.S. Attorney's Office had this to say: "It would not be appropriate for us to comment on statements of others or media reports at this time." Here at the Rosenthal trial, the Austin-based attorney is accused of paying tens of thousands of dollars for favorable court rulings in multi-million-dollar lawsuits. One of those lawsuits involved the fatal Valley Air Care helicopter crash on South Padre Island. Jurors are currently taking a break for lunch, but are expected to continue deliberations this afternoon. Of course, we'll continue to follow developments in the trial. Reporting from Corpus Christi, Sergio Chapa, Action 4 News.
All right, Sergio, again, all our teams out covering this story. Again, here is what we know at this hour. Port Isabel attorney Ray Marchan is believed to have taken a leap over the causeway. We have been told by a witness that he took a taxi over the Queen Isabella Memorial Bridge, asked the driver to pull over because he didn't feel good, and then that is when he allegedly jumped from the highest point of the Queen Isabella Causeway. We've been showing you video coming in from the Laguna Madre. You're looking at it right now. Traffic still moving over the causeway, but for several hours now there have been local law enforcement authorities as well as Coast Guard in the air, in the water, searching for Ray Marchan. He was supposed to go to prison today, start his prison term of 3.5 years today, but did not report, and instead we're hearing he jumped from that bridge. We're going to keep you up to date on this, of course, this breaking news. You can find out more details on valleycentral.com, on our Facebook page. Remember to follow us on Twitter at KGBT. I'm Marcy Martinez. Thanks for joining us.